Sue Cooper, and we're now live on Zoom as well. Thanks, Laurie. I'm Sue Cooper. I'm co-director of Feast for the Soul, and this is our 40-day spiritual immersion in its 17th year. And we often think of, well, Sarah and I have talked about this as Feast as a young lady or a young being that is growing up into being a beautiful, all-rounded being and thinking about finishing school and maybe going off to university. I mean, do we all remember those days of that sense of excitement? So if you are here on Facebook Live, hi, and if you're listening to the recording on Spotify or YouTube, hi, and really importantly to everybody here who's live on Zoom. And we know that we each meditate on our own because that's what we do when we're feasters, but to meditate together, the power of meditating together is so phenomenally powerful. And I think as we've been doing this over the last 37 days, it would be really interesting to sense into how you're feeling as we meditate together. And we'll do that later on. So let me please introduce our meditation lead this evening, or today, I beg your pardon, it's this evening in the UK, and co-director with me of Feast for the Soul, Sarah McLean. So welcome, Sarah. We're here together. Hi. We all know Sarah, but if you're here for the first time or have recently joined us, I'd love to share a little bit about Sarah and also share a couple of little stories, if I may. All beautiful stories, going a little off piece, but that's okay, because we can. So Sarah is a contemporary meditation and mindfulness teacher who's been inspiring people to meditate since the early 90s with wisdom, kindness, and humour. And from a personal perspective, Sarah's one of my teachers. Her meditation institute, McLean Meditation Institute, which she started in 2011, I think, even though you've obviously been doing that for longer than that, 300 hours, is a phenomenal experience. Literally, it is an experience, and you feel the growth. And Sarah, you are the most beautiful teacher. You don't tell us, you help us experience it, and then you move us out gently into the world and say, off you go, off you can do that. And there you are, still here, helping me and helping us continue to grow. And I'm honestly deeply appreciative. I met Sarah in 2014. I'd been on a 10-day Panchakarma at the Chopra Centre, and then I moved into Spiritual Solutions. And Sarah was co-hosting the whole event with Dr. Deepak Chopra. It was a 4-day event. And I saw her come up onto the stage. Whoa, who's this lady with this presence? And just one little story is I fell in love with Sarah for her whole being when she started talking about forgiveness and about forgiving. And I don't know if you can remember this, Sarah, but I play with words. And you said to the group, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people there, about forgiving. And if we separate the word forgiving into two words, for and giving, and then add gratitude and say thank you, we then move into thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn and grow. And that hit a light bulb moment. It was like, I have to get to know this lady because she's talking my language. And then I came and found you and said, do you come to England? And you said yes, and the story unfolded from that. And I give gratitude for Susie for bringing Sarah over to Ireland where we all met. So those are just a few personal stories. Sarah, you really are an inspiration, and I mean that most sincerely from my heart. And more about Sarah will go into the bio, and also check out on Feast for the Soul, but I really wanted to honour you tonight from a personal perspective, inviting me to be co-director of the feast, and I've loved it. Thank you. So your meditation tonight is a mantra meditation for transcendence, and I would like to pass the mantle over to you, and I'm so looking forward to enjoying this evening today. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sue. It's so fun to be here with you and seeing how you have completely blossomed into this beautiful being, which you already were, but just really taking on your dharma, as they say, the duty in life. What you were born to do is to teach people how to become more caring of themselves, loving themselves. And really, I've been reading your newsletters, and the emphasis on self-care is everything we all need to hear these days, with the world being as chaotic as it is. I also appreciate seeing Susie here because she's also a meditation teacher who went through the academy, but in her own right was a Vedic master before that. And watching Susie grow and blossom, and then also Lori, thank you for being here. And they're kind of hosting us today, and Mary is in her car somewhere. And thank you, Mary, for doing that. It's always good to be here. You know, I often imagine that we're all sitting, well, I imagine you're sitting, and I imagine we're sitting in a circle, and I imagine that our hearts are glowing because we are putting the most important thing first, which is our self-care, which is our spiritual life. Because with a good, solid spiritual background and practice, we can always return to our center point of peace again and again and again and again. And so, even though it seems like we might not be doing anything when we're meditating, what we are doing is creating resilience. We're creating these new neurons that are firing and activating peace, activating the parasympathetic response, the rest and digest response, even in the middle of a challenging moment. You may end up obviously getting off center, but you're able to come back easily again and again. The very first time I decided to meditate every single day, it was because I sat in a room learning a mantra meditation. Now, I had dabbled in meditation before that. I had dabbled in mindfulness. I had simply adopted the meditation position and wondered what was going to happen next. I also went to a woman who had a pyramid strapped to her ceiling, and she was going to teach me meditation. So she taught me what now I know is a chakra practice. But back then, I had no idea what she was talking about. And I don't have the ability to imagine on demand that some people do. If I say to you, imagine, a pink elephant, you can see it, you can get it. For those of us who can't do an on-demand visualization, we have what's called aphantasia, and I'm one of those people. So I'm sitting under this pyramid in her bedroom, and she is teaching me 1 hour long meditations. Meanwhile, I'm in college, and I don't have an extra hour twice a day to do that. And I can't see what she's talking about anyway. So she eventually started telling me to imagine the colors of fruit instead of the colors of chakras. So she had me meditating on my base chakra, an apple, the color red, this second chakra, the sacral chakra, the color orange. So imagine oranges and so on. So I was committed to doing a fruit meditation twice a day, every day, but it didn't last for as long as I wanted. But the time that I did take on a daily practice was in 1989, and learned a mantra practice. Now, I'm not teaching you the one I learned then, but I am going to teach you the mechanics of mantra practice. And as some of you know, the word mantra has been thrown around a lot in the spiritual communities. Sometimes mantra is referring to a motto, like some motto you live with, like life loves me, or all is well in my world, which is also possibly an affirmation, right? So sometimes mantras are, is the word mantra is used to talk about an affirmation or talk about a motto. But the way I learned to use a mantra, which simply the word mantra means instrument for the mind or vehicle for the mind. A mantra is a word that you can chant out loud, you can say silently to yourself, you can listen to other people singing, or you can literally write it. So today we're going to use a mantra that is a simple bija, B-I-J-A. Bija means seed mantra, and it's in the language of Sanskrit. Now, mantras can be done, as I said, out loud or silently or chanted or listening. This one we're going to use to transcend. And I know some of you have heard that word before, and I want to talk about it just for a moment before we start the practice. The word transcend means to go beyond. So what are we going beyond with this practice of using a silent mantra? We're going beyond the activity of the mind. We're going beyond the mental construct that sort of define ourselves in the world. And where are we going when we use a mantra? When we use a mantra, we start in the waking state like we are right now. We close the eyes, we start to relax the body, as you might start doing right now if you like. And we silently introduce this word, which ultimately is what takes the place of all the mundane daily mental activities that you have, the to-do list, the memories, the hopes, the dreams. This mantra interrupts the constant flow of thoughts, the meaningful words that we say to ourselves, like what I have to do later, my work, my family, all these conversations that you're having with yourself. A mantra is generally used for the sound of the word rather than the meaning of the word. Now, we'll get into this another time. If you want to know more, you can go to my website and find out. But I'm going to suggest today that you're going to use the sound of the word that you're going to think to interrupt the constant internal dialogue. According to a big clinic here in America, the Cleveland Clinic, it says that we generally process 70,000 thoughts a day using 100 billion neurons that connect at more than 500 trillion points and travel 300 miles an hour. And this is a 3-pound instrument that is running your life, your brain. So when we use a mantra, the nervous system starts to settle down. The mental activity doesn't have a place to grab because you're only paying attention to the mantra. Now the mind's going to wander. It's going to travel into the past or the future, into other people's business. But your job in the meditation is to come back again and again to this mantra. Now, I'll teach you this mantra when our eyes are closed. It's one I use very regularly. You may have heard it before, and I will tell you what the meaning is. However, as we use the mantra, it's ideal to listen to the sound of the word rather than focus on the meaning. Also, it's important throughout the entire time to be kind to yourself, even if you lose track of what we're doing. Transcendence means going beyond the mental activity, all the to-dos, and diving deep into that underlying field from which everything arises. What I like to call the field of love. This is the place where life arises from, this conscious awareness, this field of love, where when you ask yourself the question, who's looking through my eyes? What is this love that's living through my body? You are calling forth this aspect of you, this transcendent universal aspect that each one of us has, that we're each expressing in every moment. So enough of that. Let's meditate, shall we? So let's meditate. We're going to meditate for about 20 minutes. I'll keep track of the time. The ideal is to sit comfortably with your eyes closed, or if you prefer, you can open them slightly and gaze towards your hands or the floor. And as you notice your eyes closing, you may notice that your attention starts to move inward a little bit and you become a little bit more aware of your body. So make those micro adjustments to get as comfortable as you can. And just imagine that your awareness, whether it's of your body, your breath, the sounds in the environment, that your awareness is love. Your awareness is kind. Your awareness is nourishing. So when you remember this, you're really encouraging harmony and peace and coherence throughout your entire body and the world. So as you're sitting here, settling into this space, the idea is to sit relatively still, although you can move if you need to. You can begin to give yourself some deeper breaths. You can breathe in slowly and deeply at your own pace, filling your lungs, lowering your shoulders, and exhaling slowly and fully through your nose at your own pace. Allowing the fresh air to fill the capacity of your lungs and allowing the used air to move easily out through your nostrils. 3 long, slow, deep breaths at your own pace. This sends a signal to your body that it's okay to relax right now. And then you can allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm and depth. And throughout this practice, we're going to be breathing naturally. There's no need to control or regulate your breathing. And as you sit here now, comfortably with your eyes closed or lowered, you can begin to welcome everything that you sense, perhaps beginning with the sounds around you. Listening to the various sounds as they meet your awareness, whether they're near or far, constant or fluctuating. You might even notice sounds that are inside your body. So as you welcome the sounds, you can let go of the source or trying to determine the source of the sounds and simply listen to the sounds themselves. Letting go of preferences of whether you like it or not. Simply welcome everything. Noticing how some sounds arise from the silence and return to the silence, like my voice. And moving from the sounds to welcoming sensations. Welcoming the sensations of your breath. The movement and the pauses between the inhale and the exhale. Becoming aware of the sensations throughout your entire body. And settling into the support that's already here for you. The support underneath your feet from this beautiful earth. The energetic support that you're getting from friends seen and unseen, and those of us here with you now. Welcoming every sensation, resisting nothing, and staying out of the idea of preferences, what you like, what you don't like. Letting everything be as it is. As you continue to breathe in and out naturally, imagine, if you will, that you're sitting here and glowing. that the light of your soul is visible to everyone. And as you breathe in and out naturally, you can even imagine that your whole body glows just a little bit brighter, far beyond the edges of your skin. We'll begin now to introduce the silent mantra. I'll say it a few times and invite you to say it silently. Again, paying attention to the sound of the words rather than the meaning, and not trying to coordinate the mantra with the breath. It's a two-part mantra. The first word is aham, A-H-A-M, pronounced aham. The second word is prema, P-R-E-M-A, prema. The meaning of this mantra is I am divine or pure love. Let's tune in to the repetition of this mantra and let it take us to deeper levels of silence. There's nothing you need to do other than gently and easily repeat the mantra at your own pace. And if the mind drifts away to a thought or an idea, come back here, right where you are, and reintroduce this mantra. Aham prema. Aham prema. Aham prema. Be sure that you repeat the mantra gently and easily. There's no need to force. There's no need to enunciate. Let it be a faint idea. Now I'll keep quiet as we meditate together in silence, repeating the mantra Aham Prema. If you notice you're waiting for something to happen, treat this as you would any other thought. Gently reintroduce the mantra. There's no particular speed or rhythm or depth of this mantra. Aham prema. Keep coming back. We're going to rest here, letting the mantra fade completely and resting in pure awareness. Resting in being. And keeping your eyes closed, continue to rest right here. Resting in the stillness where all sound emerges from, resting in the stillness where all action emerges from, resting in the stillness of all possibilities. The still point is always here for you. So I'm going to invite you to take some deeper breaths through your nose, maintaining that quality of awareness, of stillness. Slowly begin to invite a little bit of movement into the body. And when you feel like you'd like to engage from this state of peace, maintaining it slowly, opening your eyes, not jumping into activity. It's always important to come out of meditation slowly to integrate the benefits. You might open your eyes a little bit with a downward gaze. Take a few more deep breaths, and when you feel ready to open your eyes all the way, you can bring your hands to the prayer position or Anjali pose, mudra. Take a moment to appreciate yourself. Whether you're conscious of it or not, your practice creates these peace ripples. Your being is cohesive and coherent and creates peace in the midst of chaos. Take a moment and appreciate yourself for putting your practice first. Then you can open your eyes all the way and maybe gaze at your screen, at the lovely beings who are practicing with you, with the attitude of namaste. Namaste simply means I honor the love that lives through you as you, the God that lives through you as you, the love, the peace that lives through you as you. So namaste. Thank you for practicing with us today.